day of the month.
1 year ago.
So this happened from asteroids, right? At least that's what we've been programmed to believe. But what if I told you that this was a phenomena that has happened from below and not something that fell from above? Isn't it interesting that what we have thought to be craters look a lot like geysers? Now let's compare both side by side. Pretty similar, right? Now, don't you find it strange that if these were from the impact of meteors, that no such thing is ever by or around these craters? Check out what Genesis 7:11 says. It says, in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. Are you following me? God opened up the windows of heaven, and water came out through the firmament, and also it sprung up from the ground. Think about these as giant geysers that erupted at the time of the flood. Satan, the god of this world, and those who are serving his purpose are trying to cover up the fact that God has judged the world before by a flood. And as 2 Peter says, that these scoffers are willingly ignorant that by the word of God the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water, whereby the world that then was, being overflowed by water, perished. They deny the flood because if that happened, then so will his judgment by fire later come to pass. These large craters are also proof of a flood. Nothing is getting in or out until God cracks that sky open and he returns a second time. The evidence is all around us if you have eyes to see. So this happened from...
Let me say it again, let me say it loud. There is nobody like Jesus. I don't care what you've done. I know I read this, but I want to read it again. Noah was a drunk. Abraham was too old. Isaac was a daydreamer. Jacob was a liar. Leah was ugly. Joseph was abused. Moses had a stuttering problem. Gideon was afraid. Samson had long hair and was a womanizer. Rahab was a prostitute. Jeremiah and Timothy were too young. David had an affair and was a murderer. Elijah was suicidal. Isaiah preached naked. Jonah ran from God. Naomi was a widow. Job went bankrupt. Peter denied Jesus. The disciples fell asleep while he was praying. Martha worried about everything. Mary Magdalene, well, I don't even want to talk about her. The Samaritan woman was divorced more than once. Zacchaeus was too small. Paul was too religious. Lazarus was dead. But the Lord used every one of them. Now, what's your problem? Well, you don't know what I've done. No, and you don't know what they did. You don't know how bad I've been. No, you don't know how bad they've been. But when you come to Jesus, he takes care of everything. Let me...
My favorite smell of all time is shampoo ginger, also known as avapui. I am so grateful for it. I wash my hands with it every single day. It smells both floral and tropical, and the combs fill up with so much more liquid than you would ever expect. And for the first 24 hours after the hurricane, when we didn't have power and water, before I had my personal power grid set up, after the storm, we were using this a ton, bringing it inside to wash our hands as well. I'll be doing one more big shipment of these before winter, so if you'd like to get rhizomes from me, they are currently available. They come with full growing instructions for indoors and out. Plus, in this playlist, there are a ton of videos about care and growing. And as always, let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Happy gardening. My favorite smell of all time is shampoo ginger, also known as avapui. I am so...
God said no. I asked God to take my habit away. God said no. It is not for me to take away, but for you to give it up. I asked God to grant me patience. God said, no. Patience is a byproduct of tribulations. It isn't granted, it is earned. I asked God to give me happiness. God said, no. I give you blessings, happiness is up to you. I asked God to spare me pain. God said, no. Suffering draws you apart from worldly cares and brings you closer to me. I asked God to make my spirit grow. God said no. You must grow on your own, but I will prune you to make you fruitful. I asked for all things that I might enjoy in life. God said no. I will give you life so that you may enjoy all things. Then I asked God to help me love others as much as He loves me. God said, finally, you get the idea. I asked God to take my habit away.
About it, we just learn. There's always lessons when it comes to God, and this is one of them.
Imagine you talk to the creator of the universe before birth and pick the person you get to become. You say, I want to be the most courageous. The creator replies and says, well, then I will give you monsters to terrify you so that you can conquer them. Then you say, well, I want to be patient. Well, then I will make you work harder and longer so you can learn to wait. I want to be wise. And the creator replies, then I will give you failures that will crush your spirit so you can learn the value of judgment. You then say, it sounds like a rough life. Can you give me a good life? The creator replies, just like we measure the quality of a blacksmith by the strength of his steel, I measure you by what you are at the end, not the fire and the hammer it took to make you. A good life isn't a life that's easy. A good life is a life that makes you to a good person. And that, my son, is a hard life.
And the best part is, the closer we get to God, the more that we understand why things work the way they do. And we don't get mad about it. We just learn. There's always lessons when it comes to
Donald Trump.
Given that
Jokes I'm about to tell are not funny, so don't laugh. How much does Santa pay to park his sleigh? Nothing. It's on the house. It's not funny. If you ever get cold, just stand in a corner. They're usually 90 degrees. It's not funny. Did you hear about the giant pickle? He was kind of a big deal. It's not funny. Don't laugh. I just saw a burglar kick his own door in. When I asked him what he was doing, he said he was working from home. It's not funny. What happens when an egg laughs? It cracks up. It's not funny. The doctor told me I was going deaf. You can imagine, the news was hard for me to hear. It's not funny. Some say Steve Jobs would have been a better president than Donald Trump. But that's comparing apples to oranges. It's not funny. Don't laugh. I've asked so many people what LGBTQ stands for, and so far nobody's given me a straight answer. It's not funny.
It is in Hebrew and Aramaic.
Using what?
Every ancient alphabet, bar none, has always from day one with each letter had a mysterious number associated with the letter. The study of that code is called gematria, atomic mass of the elements. The numbers of the atomic mass are the numbers that equate to the mysterious letters in the ancient alphabets. What that means is when you look at human DNA, or the DNA of any life, the numbers that equate to those become 1, 5, 6, and 3. Literally reads, literal. God eternal within the body. God eternal within the body. It is in Hebrew and Aramaic and Sanskrit, 3 of the root languages. If there's an intentionality underlying life itself and human life specifically, it would make tremendous sense to me that who or whatever is responsible would somehow have left a sign. Why place that signature into something that can crumble over a few thousand years, like a temple wall, or into the pages of a book that can be destroyed? Why not put it in the creation that's every ancient
he is the only critter that has to use a toilet to poop, and the first thing he does when he wakes up every morning is go to the toilet. the hogweed slowly opens the lid of the toilet and welcomes the tree shrew. The tree shrews emptied their poo into the mouth of the hogweed, and the hogweed not only did not get angry, but also prepared a thoughtful breakfast for the tree shrews. This alternative hobby hides a special partnership. Every day, the hogweed secretes a kind of nectar on the toilet lid, and this nectar is the tree shrew's main food source. And the special gift that the tree shrew leaves behind for the hogweed after licking its little dessert with satisfaction is just what the hogweed needs most. As the rain falls from the sky, the special gift is washed into the hogweed's stomach and gradually dissolved by the rainwater. The nitrates in the feces is the most precious material for the hogweed, which is indispensable for them to be able to survive in the rainforest.
Cornstarch. We got a tablespoon of baking powder, tablespoon of glycerin, half a cup of dish soap, and 6 cups of water. You want to help me mix?
Yeah.
Right here. I'll hold it and you mix, okay?
Okay.
Really mix it all the way around. Saturate.
Again. Look at those ones.
Goodness. I've seen 2 different methods recently. We're going to try them both. The first method, twist that cap. Let's see if it works. Second method, take another bottle and then just rub it.
Vibrations.
You're telling me for 40 years of shaking the far out of it, I could have done this?
I'll love you till I die. Deepest sea.
Upside down, it looks like a tree growing out of a seed, bearing the fruit of the heart, which looks suspiciously like a piece of fruit hanging in a tree. That tree growing out of the seed also supports the fruit of the Spirit, and the cycle of the seed looks suspiciously like the parable of the sower. 12 pair of cranial nerves to edify the body, controlled by the mind. 12 disciples sent out in pairs to edify the body, controlled by the head. 12 disciples with 1 removed. 12 tribes with 1 removed. Adam's 12 pair of ribs with 1 removed to make Eve. Jesus pierced in his side to bring the church to life. Are you starting to see it? I often wonder why God made me a medical doctor. And then I start to see the gospel in the anatomy and physiology of our bodies, and it all starts to make sense. Flip the human nervous system upside down. It looks like a tree growing out of a seed, bearing
Coyote versus the Roadrunner type technology. Now this kind of technology is something we've only seen used by Wile E. Coyote and other Acme characters. And it works pretty good, just like in the cartoons. So basically this box here is the trap, and this lid flips up, giving them one way out of the trap, forcing them to walk over this cutout in the ground, where one by one they will fall, and then be collected for their eggs, and in some cases environmental benefits. Quails can help insect control in gardens, which reduce the need for chemical insecticides. This guy shows us the meaning of bird brain as he traps these quail using Wile E. Coyote versus the...
So in the morning, you're in a hurry to go to school, work, or wherever you're going in the morning, and you come out and your windows is frosted over like this. I'm going to show you how to get rid of all of that in a matter of seconds. Get you some alcohol. You can get it for $1 just about anywhere. And any spray nozzle will screw onto the top of any alcohol bottle. Just take the alcohol and spray on the frost. It will instantly get rid of all of it. Just turn your windshield wipers on and you'll be able to see in the morning. And no ice will form back on the windshield, and it makes it easier to drive back and forth to wherever you're going. Now, I always keep a bottle of the alcohol inside my vehicle at all time. As long as it's 70% or more alcohol, it will not freeze over no matter how cold it gets outside. It
says, so verse 24.
Yo, listen to this.
Does Muhammad give you eternal life?
No, God gives us
okay, so watch this. Watch what Jesus says. So verse 24, the Jews are asking, they say, so the Jews gathered around him and said to him, how long will you keep us in suspense? If you are the Christ, then tell us plainly. Tell us straight up. Jesus answered them, I told you, and you do not believe. The works that I do in my Father's name bear witness about me. But you do not believe me because you are not among my sheep. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. What does this mean? They follow me, right? His sheep follow him. What does that mean? I give them eternal life, and they will never perish. No one will snatch them out of my hand.
I don't need to say anything. That is powerful. Yo, listen.
Talking gibberish. She talks in circles, talks in riddles. Unburdened by what has been. I've been unburdened by what has been. And you laugh at her, and you don't know the true meaning. It's much darker than you think.
President Harris will say repeatedly, what is the quote? The quote is that we can see what can be unburdened by what has been.
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. You know? What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
Is that word salad or Marxism? It's Marxism. That is, in fact, not at all word salad. It's a Marxist incantation, as a matter of fact. It's like a spell. So you can see the possibility of a world that's unburdened from its own history, which is exactly what Mao Zedong did when he launched the campaign of Smash the Four Olds, the four old characteristics of Chinese society. They were going to make a new China that was going to be unburdened by what had been in the past of China. This is what the Soviets, the Bolsheviks, did when they took over power in Russia, is that they were going to make the new Russia. They're going to make the new man, as a matter of fact. People could become unburdened by what has been so that they could see what could possibly be in the terms of a socialist utopia. So when she says that, I assume, given that her father was a Marxist, I assume she knows what she's saying, and I don't buy her idiot Valley speak shtick.
Everybody laughs at her and says, oh, she's just talking gibberish. She talks in circles, talks in riddles.
Apologies, I just got done bathing.
Papa?
Not it! No, Jeremy, you can't eat that. Here's a massage technique I use on old bats like your mom.
Hey, Toby, what are you doing out here?
Oh, just talking to the man upstairs.
Howdy!
I am Cornholio. Terry, I know it's hard, but you gotta sign the divorce papers, bro.
How could she do this to me?
Gotta hype myself up. Yeah! Did I do it? Excuse me, I was sitting there. I'm allergic to myself.
Okay, Papa, I'm ready to work out.
You're 5 minutes late.
Wait, Papa!
First exercise.
Papa, please!
It's called Jump the Chump. So far, you are the chump.
No, not again.
Pick up the pace, pussyfoot. Dinner's ready. Oh, ow, what the? I'm telling Mom.
No, it was a fly, Gary. Look, there it is.
It would have gave you retriever fever.
Is there anyone on earth as majestic as me? Oh, my apologies. I just got done bathing. Can you pass it to me through the door?
Wake up, Jacob. Help!
Help! You're sleep drowning again. Help! Jacob! Help! Oh, for fluff's sake. Help! Hey, Daryl. Help! Throw him in the litter box. Fast as fluff, boy. Still fast as fluff, boy. I got it.
It's mine.
No, I got it cornered over here. So I wound up and I reared back and then I punched him in his fluffing face. What kind of hairless kitten is that? Ah! One step at a time, Bartholomew. Stairs are very treacherous.
Okay, Daryl. Where's Kenneth?
Wait up, guys! I'm coming! I've done it. I captured a cloud. Would you look at this? It's in my paw. It's a freaking cloud. Ew, it's wet. Barbara, call the priest now.
I have a demon.
He's starting to take control.
Shut up and act like a horse.
No, you don't scan it twice. I just said that. Talk about my mama again, Derek. Yo, mama, so fat. Timothy, try this tuna broth. Too salty. Ugh, I'm gonna leave this here. I told him, keep his paws off Darlene. He's behind me, isn't he? I can feel his breath. Our entire litter is orange. All right, it's time to get back on my New Year's resolutions and burn some of these fat calories. Oh man, this is exhausting, you know. I just lack the necessary meowtivation. Breaking news. Meow Mix has filed bankruptcy. No! Duck, duck, duck. Goose! Oh, shit, Daryl! Sometimes I'll just stir shit up for no reason. Come on, Vicky. Give me a hickey. Did you just take a dump in my yard and try to cover it up?
No.
Don't lie to me, boy! Papa? Not it! No, Jeremy, you can't eat that.
Mice.
You think there's a real Jesus?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely?
Absolutely. 1000%.
What makes you convinced?
My faith.
I mean, that's a good answer. I always wonder when people are telling stories, though. Like, how long did that story take before people wrote it down? How many times did people alter it? Just like they do with everything today. I gotta imagine that at a certain point in time in history, they probably didn't tell the truth about a lot of things. And we take those things, tell them through oral traditions, have them written down.
Well, there's a difference between lies and between the truth getting, manipulated and twisted a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The underlying usually is still there.
So you think the real truth was that he actually was the Son of God?
Yes.
It'd be amazing if it was true.
It is amazing.
I believe you. I believe that you believe that.
Would you like to be introduced to Jesus?
Listen, I think the concept of Jesus is absolutely amazing. And if Jesus came here and wanted to visit me, I would be psyched. You think there's a real Jesus?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely?
Absolutely.
You can see this one.
Does that mean I can do whatever I want and I'm forgiven?
Yeah, that's a good question. Let me answer it in two steps here. Number one is God will forgive any sinner because Jesus is divine, and so his sacrifice can forgive any sin. Now, if you're saying, I can go about sinning all that I want to because I'm covered by that, it would be like a young man, a boy, who goes out camping with his father. They set up camp on the shore of the beach, and Dad says, son, whatever you do, I'm going to take a nap. Don't go into that boat because it's alligator-infested water. Kid says, okay, Dad. Dad falls asleep. The kid starts looking at the paddle boat, and he thinks, I think I'm going to give it a go. He goes out into the middle of the lake. All of a sudden, a bunch of alligators start swirling around. He gets a little panicked. He gets rocked. He tips over and passes out. The next thing you know, he wakes up with his head on the sand, looking up at the sky. He turns and looks over, and his dad has been clearly mauled by alligators, and he immediately knows, wow, I blew it, and my dad jumped in to rescue me. He saved me from that. Now, imagine if that young man then said, thanks, Dad, and then he went back out in the boat and did it again. You would say, he doesn't esteem the sacrifice of his father. When you understand that Jesus actually died for you in a very nasty, humiliating way, you don't want to sin anymore.
Does that mean I can do whatever I want and I'm forgiven?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Verse which he did.
Go and where's your evidence there?
If Satan fell from heaven and a third of the angels fell with him,
Why did God not just lock him up right then? Why is he waiting? Why does he get dominion over this world?
We could just as easily ask, why doesn't he lock us all up right now? In fact, let me ask you guys a question. If God were to stop evil at midnight tonight, would you still be alive at 12:01? No, I wouldn't be. None of us would be. God allows evil knowing he can redeem it. If God didn't allow us free will, which gives us the ability to do evil, but also the ability to love, if God doesn't allow free will, then we don't have a moral universe. And God can't redeem anything that's gone wrong. He didn't want to create robots. That's a completely different kind of being than a free will creature who can choose to love or disobey. So God gives us the ability to love, but also disobey, and he knows he can redeem it. He knows he can buy it back. He knows he can rescue the situation for people that want to be rescued. For those that don't want to be rescued, they don't have to be rescued. God will separate himself from them, and that's what hell is. It's separation from God. So God gives us the ability to do what we want to do, and he also comes into this universe, which he did 1991 years ago this week, to provide the sacrifice so we can be reconciled to him. Because if he's infinitely just, and he is, he's got to punish sin. And he doesn't want to punish us. So what does he do? He punishes himself in our place. I mean, think about it this way, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone believes in justice. And the only thing you're going to get in the afterlife is either justice or grace. What do you want? I don't want justice. Do you want justice? No. You want grace. I want grace. That's why he came in. So why doesn't he stop Satan? Why doesn't he stop all of us? He could, but he's given us an opportunity to make a choice.
I know he's going to get his justice.
Well, everything's going to be done justly. And justice for those who have accepted Christ goes on Jesus. Those who haven't, it goes on them. Look, either you're going to pay or Jesus is going to pay. Who do you want to pay?